Welcome to another full-length, uncut, raw sales call from myself of me demonstrating my competence of walking the walk and not just talking the talk. Many months ago, I posted my first sales call recording publicly available to the YouTube channel for you guys to watch and for you to assess, judge, and analyze whether or not I actually have a little bit of a clue on what I'm talking about. Now, when I did that, it started a bit of a pattern and a trend of people uploading sales calls and full-length sales calls. You go track back, I was one of the first person to, basically the first people to actually do this in the first place, and it created a bit of a trend, and it forced a lot of the marketers to basically create very fake sales call recordings, laydowns, and a bunch of all that type of good stuff, and you probably have already seen a bunch of them already. So I wanted to come out again with yet another full-length sales call recording for you to judge, for you to assess, for you to analyze, to see whether or not I have a little bit of an understanding and know a little bit about what I'm talking about. Now, I want to preface this by saying, by no means am I the best sales coach, the best sales trainer in the industry. There are plenty of people that are much better than me at sales. I'm always constantly learning and constantly getting better. I'm not saying that I am the best in the world. I'm far from it. I'm not saying the best salesperson either. But what I am saying is I'm fairly competent in what I do. And I've been doing this for a very long time. And I think this call recording is very good proof of that. You're going to see objection handling. You're going to see limiting beliefs. You're going to see challenging the prospect in certain circumstances. So I think you'll find a lot of value in this call, and I think you'll really enjoy it. It's full length, it's uncut, and it's really, really long. But I think you guys want to see the full guts of it, right? The full raw, uncut recording. So I'm going to give that to you. So I could charge $197 for this. I could charge $97 for this and have a low ticket product. But again, I kind of want to just stake my claim that I know my stuff. I'm good at what I do. And of course, provide some value to you, my subscribers of the YouTube channel. If you're new here, welcome. And hopefully you guys find it valuable and insightful. Okay, so let's get stuck into the meat and guts of it. Later on in the call, around the 25th minute to the 41st, you'll see that I'll start the presentation phase. So I'm going to play that at 2x speed just to make sure that this video isn't so long and drawn out. And the vast majority of the call, I'll be playing the call at 1.25x speed. So don't worry, I don't talk this fast, or the prospect doesn't talk this fast. It's just because the total call length is about 50 minutes because there's some objection handling involved and some, information and educating going on in the call as well. But I want to show you the full length sales call in its rawest form. So let's go ahead and dive in and let's start breaking it down.
Perfect, mate. How you doing?
Good, thanks.
Awesome, man. So it looks like Chelsea or Talia must have spoken to you just for a bit there, just about, possibly looking for some ways to start your own marketing agency here.
Yeah.
Now, I would say the first part of this call is really just more for us just to take a look at your background as far as what you're doing and what you've done in the past.
Yeah.
And then I would say what you're actually looking for, just to see if we could actually help you, because sometimes we just can't help some certain people.
So here what I'm doing is basically setting what's called a frame. Now, frames can be done in many different ways. Definitely can be done the wrong ways and definitely can be done the right ways. Look, I'm not here to say or force any specific way of selling. It's just the way that I know that I've learned, and it's the most efficient and the most productive way of doing things. Here, all I'm just basically telling the prospect is cool, here's the journey that's ahead. So questions don't come up later of what are we talking about? Why are we going this way? Because this will naturally come up if you don't let the prospect know where the expectation of the call is heading. And it's done in a way where it's not forcing someone to say, yes, you have to give me a yes or a no, or a lot of weird ones that I've heard out there. It's very neutral, it's very clear, and it's not too passive, and it's basically just taking leadership in the beginning of the call. Right, that's all that a frame does. Just sets the expectations. It's not saying, hey, you have to buy at the end of the day, because I think that's a very weird thing to say as a salesperson. It's you have a very big ego if you think that you can actually force someone to say yes or no, which we definitely can't be doing that. So that's just setting a frame there.
All right, now, I guess I was curious, when you went through the ad where you saw, Zane talking about starting your own type of agency, what was it that, what kind of attracted your attention?
So this question, I'm looking for a couple things. I'm just looking for like what was it? What was the reason they originally had booked the call? And I want an initial goal, right? What's the small goal, right? We're gonna receive a few different goals throughout the call, but this is the most surface level goal once you get at the top of the call. The main thing I want to do when I open a call is just very primarily diffuse sales resistance, right? I don't want to seem as less as a salesperson as possible, set a frame, and merely just understand why they're here. Really simple, basic stuff.
The fact that you can have one client and one campaign to sustain you,
Mm-hmm.
that's good. But look, I've written down some background about me. Perhaps
Okay.
if I just quickly read that to you.
Well, so I mean,
Okay, so at this point, the gentleman that I was speaking to was a little bit older, and he was just like, "Well, I've written this long list of things about me to give you the full background, as I'd pretty much basically said we're going to go through before." So immediately, you could hear my voice because again, context. This call recording is probably like 2 or 3 years old, so this is obviously before my experience today. Initially, just a complete knee jerk reaction. I was like, whoa, whoa, whoa. I was like, just hang on there, buddy. Like, we don't want to do that because then it's just going to end up tangenting, and we're going to be talking about interesting conversation, but not productive conversation. And this is what can lose a lot of sales when we're kind of just having this long, drawn out dialogue that doesn't really mean anything. And there's a very clear difference between productive dialogue or productive sales conversation versus interesting. So let's see how I handle it.
I mean, all I really need to know is like, I mean, like, what do you actually do for a living now? Like, what do you do for work?
So what I did here is I accidentally skipped a step and didn't re-ask the question of finding out why he's originally here. And so I've kind of missed out on that first objective in the first part of the sales process. So what I've done is I've transitioned to my next phase, which is what I call the current state, current situation, present state, really whatever you want to call it. It has many names in many different sales processes. And all I want to find out is what is he currently doing to solve the solution, and how long has he been doing it?
I've just lost you.
Okay.
You said, oh, Zoom. Gotcha.
Okay. Yeah.
I'm a web designer.
A web designer.
Yeah.
Okay.
Qualified graphic designer back in 1997. So I've been in the graphic design, web design business for 20 years.
Okay.
But my business has languished over the years because of.
What do you mean by languished?
It hasn't done.
So a really big thing that a lot of salespeople misunderstand when they're beginning is they take what the prospect says at face value. The reason why I wanted to find out what languished means is because it can mean different things to different people. It can mean whatever, right? The same thing and same principle lies within, let's say, if I ask a person who, like a person with hundreds of millions of dollars, like, and they want to make more money. More money can mean millions and millions of dollars, whereas to someone that makes $1,000 a week, that could mean an extra $1,000 a month, right? And so we need to kind of pull that out there and find out what he actually means by that.
As well as I would have liked. I hadn't prospered. And
Okay.
I believe this is, paralysis by analysis. I've been taking in information for way too long.
Mm-hmm.
And so when I'm hearing this paralysis by analysis, he's already telling me his objection that he's going to give me at the end, which you'll find later on. And when you've done sales for a long time and you are experienced and you learn the right skills, you can call these objections and pull them out pretty quickly earlier on in the first half, in the first beginning, before they come out later at the end. And I think in this call, I might have had a good attempt at trying to pre-handle it. We'll see a little bit later on. But hearing that in the very beginning, just hearing that languaging that he's using is already a cause for concern.
But trying to do it all on my own. But yeah, so I've sort of moved out of graphic design. I'm still in touch with graphic design, but moved into web design.
Okay. And so you run your own business right now?
Yeah.
Is that full time?
Yeah.
Okay. And have you been doing that since 1997, like your own business, or?
Yes, I have, yeah.
Okay. So you've basically been running it for quite some time then. And
Yeah, I haven't focused solely on my business. I've tried a number of different things. So
Okay.
it's probably dissipated my energy.
okay, well let's talk about that. Okay. So
The reason I'm saying let's talk about that is I'm going to pocket what he just said and bring it up later. So he's tried a bunch of different things. So I'm listening for the different cues that he's giving me. And the biggest, like, pretty much just gave us three big red flags that we're going to get a thing about objection at the end of the call. And the thing about objection is probably going to be around fear, right? Which you'll see that happening later on.
In a number of different things. Now, I don't think Chelsea mentioned or Talia mentioned, is it just you over there, or like do you also have like a family that you're taking care of as well?
It's just me.
Cool. No worries. And so I guess I'm curious about all those things you mentioned. So you've been running the web design business for quite some time, right?
Yeah.
Do you like, I guess, the business that you're running right now?
I do. Yeah, I like WordPress and web development.
Okay.
And more importantly, digital marketing.
Okay.
I've got a fair bit of unapplied knowledge about digital marketing.
Okay.
So I haven't been actively making landing pages and testing them and all that sort of thing.
Okay, I see what you're saying. And so, I mean, from that, like, I guess you're liking it. So it sounds like things are going fairly well from what you just mentioned there. Like, is there anything that you would change, like, about the business, like the income, all that kind of stuff, like, if you could?
So if you can kind of hear it in my voice, at this point in time, I'm a little bit thrown off because typically with the type of avatars we're selling, typically the people who are working like a 9-to-5 job and they want to transition from that into running their own digital marketing agency. And those are the most people that we talk to. So talking to business owners was relatively uncommon. So I was a little bit thrown off there, as you can probably hear my voice. So what I'm trying to do is I'm just trying to adjust and make sure I'm asking the right questions, basically according to what he's talking about, right? His problems individually, which is a little bit different to someone who's in a 9-to-5 that he's kind of just having problems with business. And that's why you need to learn sales at the fundamental level so that you can mold and move your process around people rather than just being like understanding a script. Because when you understand a script, you understand nothing about sales. You understand how to say words, but you don't understand what you're trying to do in sales, right? Hoping that's making sense.
Yeah, I would like an income. I'm surviving at the moment on hosting plans that I'm selling, just mark up on hosting plans and domain registration. So I'm not actually doing any web development at the moment. If it comes along, I would do it. But the thing is, I'm tired of exchanging my time for money and putting up with scope creep and clients who want to take control.
So the problem that we've identified here is that he's tired of exchanging his time for money, right? He's tired. His business isn't enabling him to have the growth that he wants. So that's a problem that we've identified here. In this phase of my sales process, I'm looking for what's the problem, what's causing it, how long has it been going on, and what impact is it having. And right now I've got the problem, I've got what's causing it. What's causing it is the business. Now so we're going to look for the other two objectives here.
Give me an example of that.
You take on a web project and you may not have defined it well enough, and there's confusion, and they say, oh, while you're doing that, can you do this and that and the other, and it just gets out of control. But the bottom line is exchanging time for money. I have to put way too much time in for what I'm getting remunerated for.
That going on, like, how long have you sort of felt that way about that going on in business?
So that takes up my how long question. So how long has the problem been going on? So we're stretching the gap in the prospect's mind between where they are now, where they want to go, right? We're making the pain much bigger, right? We're not asking for him to tell me that his life's going to end, although he's going to tell us something very similar in a second. We're just stretching the gap in his mind.
Oh, many years. Yeah, long time.
Like, has that, like that going on though, like, has that had an impact on you?
It has.
In what way?
Well, lack of income and lack of control, and basically you could put it down to humiliation in life. Right?
Now, you can say this prospect is very open, you can say what you like, but when you have the ability to ask the right questions in the right way, in the right sequencing order, and you know how to ask them, you can get to that level with your prospects extremely quickly. Right, we're only about 5 minutes and 22 seconds in here, and I've just met this man. I'm a complete stranger to him. For him to be able to open up in that way, the way that I've asked the questions, the way that I've framed the call correctly, my body language, although you can't see it, has all summed up to that outcome of him being extremely open. And the better answers we get on sales calls, the more sales we make. It's incredibly important to know here.
If you're not earning an income and you're not you're not actively serving anyone, it's a problem. So, when I explained to you that I've tried a number of different things, I'm consistently trying to get away from selling my time for money. So I've tried Amazon. I've tried a mentoring program. What else have I tried? A WordPress mentoring program, which is good, but I haven't fully pursued that. But I want to do this myself, and you guys, or Zane in particular, gave me the impression that this would be something that I would control and not be constrained by any, you have to finish this module by this certain time, or you can't move on to the next module, or this sort of constraints.
Okay. Well, I guess let's kind of talk about that. And I think there's some things I kind of want to dive into there, like the Amazon, the mentoring and things like that you mentioned. But I guess just so I can see the rationale, I guess, like, besides like trading time for money, like you talked about, like what's maybe like the main reason why you're looking to streamline this process now rather than just keep doing what you're doing? And I guess, maybe using some of those courses that you talked about.
So what this question is trying to pull out is basically the prevention of a do-it-yourself objection. And I know that rhymes, but let me explain it to you. So what we're trying to pull out with this question is getting the prospect to willingly put the line in the sand and admit to change, right? That's all we're trying to do. We're trying to get the prospect to admit to themselves that the process that they're currently using is not working and they need to do something different. All sales is change, right? That's all that we're doing here. And so keep that in mind when all the questions you're asking in whatever sales process you may be using, whatever methodology, all are totally fine. Some are more effective than others, but there's no one way of doing things. That's the constant question you have to have in the back of your mind of like, all sales is just change. You're getting the prospect to change their mind, their situation, and ultimately get to where they want to go.
Yeah, well, doing what I'm doing really has been not taking action. I haven't marked.
So we're hearing that again, by the way. This is a prospect with a lot of limiting mindsets and a lot of limiting beliefs. So he's giving a strong thing about objections before we've even hit the presentation, right? When you've been in sales for a long time, you can start to register these, and he's giving a lot of red flags already in the beginning. So I was kind of bracing towards the end of the call here. I remember that this is a long time ago, but I was bracing towards the end of the call here from some serious objections, and we definitely ended up getting some of these.
I haven't actively marketed my website. I know if I start doing that, I'll probably get some sort of results. But
just to kind of unpack that again here as well, he's giving himself reasons or excuses as to why he hasn't got results. But if he wanted to get to where you want to go, he would be there already, right? He's giving himself crutches to lean on as to why he's not where he wants to be yet. And so something that I could have done better in this call is really call things for how they are a lot earlier on in the piece, a little bit more leadership, and start handing out some slaps, because this guy's got some serious mindset issues. He's projecting responsibility onto other people, as you'll see again here in a second. But it's something really important to observe. Something that I could have improved on looking at this call and reflection. It was obviously quite old, but still is things that can absolutely improve. Is having more leadership in these elements.
Okay.
Yeah, like I said, I love the idea of automation, building a list. It seems like I've got everything in place. I'm poised, ready to go, but shiny object syndrome. Keep seeing something.
So he's giving us yet another terrible mindset, shiny object syndrome. He's aware of it, but it's not good for us at all, because we know that he's going to give us a think about objection at the end.
More software and,
Shiny object syndrome and not taking action. Like, do you want to change that?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Well, I guess just...
So that was good, but I would have gone into that a little bit more. So shiny object syndrome, do you want to change that? I would have asked how long that's been going on and how long he's had that restricting mindset or that limiting mindset. And then I would have asked something along the lines of, do you want to change that? And I would have gone, why now? Why not later? Right? And just kind of double confirm that tie down.
I can understand when you mentioned like the Amazon and the mentoring things that you talked about.
Yeah.
What specific results did you actually get with those kind of programs?
Nothing.
Okay.
Um,
Were other students getting results in those programs, do you think?
yeah, they certainly were. But
So again, his excuses are going to come out, and this is a really interesting call to analyze because, you know, so many people in this market, in this industry, have every excuse in the book as to why they haven't gotten results. They'll always blame anything but themselves, and it's always the person that was helping them's fault. It was the business model's fault. It was always somebody else's fault. And so the key thing to observe here is, again, I should have stepped more into a leadership type frame and really started to slap him about here, because this is why he gave me more flack and more objections and concerns later on, because I didn't really step in and really align his mindset here, which is what was really needed.
with the Amazon situation, they were based in the US. I signed up with them, and there was a giant lag in support. Whenever I sent them an email, it was 5 days to get back to me. I was within a trial period. And basically, because of their ineptitude, they ran out the trial period, and I had to pull out or lose all my money. And I lost, a significant amount of money on the exchange rate when they refunded my money. So that was a bad experience. And they just seemed like shysters to me. Once they had you on board, they didn't really care about it.
Okay, so it was more like the Amazon, the support was lacking for you. Okay. And so
Something to take into context here. Conversion rate probably wasn't all that much. The gentleman I'm talking to is Australian, probably paid in USD or something like that. He probably lost $100 or $200 at that point. So it really wasn't all that much, but he's quite burned, or at least he thinks he's been burned. He's going to give us another situation here in a minute. But again, these are all just limiting belief objections just kind of coming out. Burn before objections. It's a really good mixed bag here. So this is a great demonstration of a prospect with a lot of limiting mindsets. And yeah, we're going to see how we break it down.
you also you mentioned the mentoring as well. So can you be specific about what that mentoring is about?
Have you heard of six-figure mentors?
I think I may have heard of them. I'm not too sure.
Yeah, okay. It was a digital marketing mentoring program, but it was a monthly subscription. And, I just wasn't getting ahead, and I started to resent the lack of support and forking out this huge monthly bill all the time.
How big was the monthly bill?
Oh, it was probably 150 or something.
Okay.
So again, I'm just I guess trying to understand what this big monthly bill is, because again, like I mentioned earlier on, big monthly bill can mean different things to different people. That could mean 50 grand, that could mean the very small amount that he just spoke about. So not only is there a lot of fear objection handling that has to go on here, but there's a lot of molding that this person needs to have to become a good client for the business I'm working with, because otherwise, if I sell him with a lot of these limiting mindsets going into it, he's going to become a bad client. He's going to pull out. He's going to refund, just like he's done to all these other companies. So I need to find out what was missing and how we can provide a better solution, but also start hitting the nail on the head of pushing him towards the right direction and coaching him into becoming a good client.
Something like that, yeah.
Okay, that makes sense. And so I guess besides the support, do you feel like anything else kind of held you back with getting the results you're looking for?
No, I think I've pretty well summed it up. I mean,
Okay.
I'm serious about, getting this going. I
Okay.
personally got a lot at stake, and I just want to get on with it.
Okay. Well, I mean, let's do this then, just to make sure that, I guess what we do would actually fit into what you're looking for.
Yeah.
All right. So I guess besides making more income, because that's what most people would like to have from their business, but in someone like some outside help, like a coach, like we kind of talked about,
Yeah.
to ensure that you're actually successful in doing this kind of stuff, what would you actually need to put yourself in the best position possible so that you can actually get a result? Right. So you mentioned support and coaching and stuff like that's important to you. So for someone like that, what would be, I don't know, maybe your criteria, do you think?
So all I'm trying to do with this question is just ask exactly what the prospect wants, so I can just pitch it back to them. Really simple.
Okay, well, I understand landing pages,
Okay.
lead magnets, building a list. I just have some questions for you, which would help me understand the whole situation better.
Of course.
So this part, when a prospect is asking questions about what you're offering, you want to give a very clear and confident answer, and then bounce them back to the conversation at hand, because you'll find I'll try to do that as best possible here. I think I do a relatively okay job at it. But when he's asking a question about, the logistics of things. We want that more towards the back end of the call. We don't want to get too mixed into details. So I want to give him a good answer, and then I want to keep redirecting him down the line to, the general conversation.
Just ask those.
Just going to bump this up to 2 speed here, just so that we're not wasting too much time.
Okay. I don't understand the concept of building your own campaign. I heard Alex Jackson, the guest speaker on Dane's video, talk about owning your own offer. Aren't the campaigns I'm building for the client? How do you, how does my funnel, my asset become automated, and how is it that they talk about me owning that?
Yeah, right. So when you create a campaign, you're creating an ad, a landing page, and a form, right? That's intellectual property that you will own, and you'll have your own brand that actually holds that as a funnel, a campaign, right? So you'll own that campaign. So when you swing to other clients, right, you're basically ciphering the leads through your front end on your business-wise, your personal brand, right, your own business, and then on the back end, they're getting those leads, right? But it has to be coherent with the offer that you're doing. Like, for example, pet insurance. If you had a few pet insurance providers that were doing like 2 months free pet insurance, that's like their offer, right? You got that. You agreed that with 2 clients. You're running the same campaign, but you're just sending the leads in different directions.
Yeah.
Does that help?
Yeah.
Okay.
Zane talks about partnering with someone. The partner.
Yeah.
That's the prospect.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
How would I? That's my biggest concern, because I have quite a bit of knowledge in the WordPress website area, but I have existing clients who have never been able to entice to spend more money or develop their websites. So how do I approach someone and not have them say, I'm not interested at all, when really I haven't defined my pitch worth?
That's the kind of stuff we teach you inside the program, right? Teach all of our clients. We teach you everything there. So we teach you LinkedIn prospecting methods. We teach you how to take the call. We teach you how to send them, what you need to send them, so that you get those partnerships, right? So that you get those skills to do that, right? So we give you everything, and I'm more than happy to talk about that with you. But just so I can make sure that, I guess, we have what you're looking for. So when it comes to someone like that outside kind of help, right? That I was talking about. Like, you mentioned like a few things about like support and a few things.
So you guys heard a good redirection there. So gave him the answers that he needed. So I'm not just kind of pushing him down the line, pushing him. I gave him the answers that he needed, gave him the confidence and the clarity, and then we moved back on. We directed him back to cool. So just to make sure I can help you, like, what is it that you said that you actually wanted? So I'm just bouncing it back to that straight line, as Jordan Belfin talks about in his philosophy of straight line sales.
Like that. Can you kind of like elaborate like sort of what you need, so I know if I can help?
I don't expect to be able to, I don't want to be badgering you guys all the time for, I don't want it to be micromanaged.
Okay.
But I do expect that I can find the right information when I need it. I don't want to be funneled off to a Facebook group to try and find my answer from someone who think that they may know.
Okay. Yeah. So more like a one-on-one group dynamic where you can get more of like a responsive time is what you mean.
Yeah, I'd like to be able to, for the premium you pay, I'd like to be able to speak to an expert to have my questions answered.
So what we're going to do in our presentation is we're going to specifically focus on an element of the deliverables that is one-to-one support, or talking to a coach that's been there and done that, because he's told me exactly what he wanted. So I'm going to go and present that to him a little bit later on.
Of course. And I guess besides that, that's like, I guess, more nuanced feedback and support. Like, is there anything else that's important to you?
No, I just want to know, I think I'm just about, ready to go. But I'd just like to know that I have the support, I guess.
Okay, for sure. And, we'll cover all that here. But I guess I do need to understand a few things first as well, just like I mentioned, just to make sure that I can help. So when you, like, more income, right, you talked about like more money for the business, right? And having that coming in. Now, like, I've never worked specifically like as a WordPress agency and doing that kind of things before. But as you know, like when you are restricted on getting the amount of clients that you want, and you don't have those people coming in as, in the outflow and the inflow that you'd like, you're sometimes limited on, I guess, what you're going to get paid. And especially with WordPress projects, there's like a certain, there's a threshold, right? It's not just like keep on stacking like a retainer moving forward. So without those limits there in place, like you having your own campaign, like, I guess I just want to know, like, what do you actually really want to be earning, like in your agency, like per month?
So this is just about a very long way around asking, what does the prospect want to make? Like, what's the goal? Now, there's 2 ways. I've kind of changed my philosophy on this a little bit. You can do it in the wishy-washy way that I just did there, and I think that works perfectly fine. You want your sales process to be as conversational as possible and seem as less as a sales process as possible. But sometimes there really is no harm about getting straight to the meat of it and not having as much waffle as I did there. Just really going straight, oh, cool. So what about the money? Like, what is it that you'd like to be making with this in the next 6 to 12 months, right? 2 ways of going about it. My philosophy's changed since then. So yeah, that's just my input on that.
I'm always presented with this question, and it's so difficult for me to answer. I would be happy to make one sale next week or next month. Let's be more realistic. I'd like to generate some sort of income from the internet. That would inspire me. And then, I really can't put a figure on it.
Well, if you really thought about it though, what would be the ideal goal, like the milestone that you want to hit?
So I got taught this by one of my mentors, which is really impactful. Is like if someone says they can't think of something, you just tell them to think of it and they'll think of it. It's really simple, really straightforward, but it does wonders. So it's like if I've really never thought about it, or I don't want to think about it, it's just, well, if you really thought about it and you generally get the answers that you need.
What do you think? Like what's a win for you?
Are you talking about a website project, or
No, I'm talking about if you're running a campaign for like another client, like what, and maybe you have 1 or 2 or 3 clients going, whatever it is. Like what's the end goal for you? Like what do you actually really want to be making?
Well, I've heard some pretty amazing stories of income. Like Alex Jackson is an example, $300,000 a month. I would be happy if I could be earning, say, $3,000 a month.
Is that the real? Is that the real like kind of income that you want to be earning, or like would you rather make more?
I'd rather make more.
Okay, well, because like when you look for the minimum, that's what you get. So like, what do you really want to make?
It's hard to define. I'd love to be making $300,000 a month.
Okay, so $300,000 a month. Okay, so that's the ideal goal.
Yeah, but that to me is just completely unrealistic.
Okay, well then
I would like to be doing that, but
what's realistic for you then?
having no experience at doing this, it's difficult for me to tell you. But I have to pay the bills. So, like I say, $3,000 a month to start. I'd be very happy with that. For the first 6 months or something.
So to understand the psychology behind that, I had a bit of a different philosophy on this back then, as I got taught by my mentors, and this has changed now as well. This is obviously a 2-year-old recording. I had always thought, well, cool, I need the prospect's goal to be much wider than where they are now to have the actual gap in their mind. But I don't really agree with this anymore. It's like whatever the prospect's goal is and that they have, that's fine. As long as it's within a reasonable and justifiable time frame and you are comfortable that what you're selling is going to allow them to hit that benchmark or that threshold, then that's fantastic, right? Roll with that. If they want to hit 3K a month, perfect, right? There's no judgment there. I don't think you should really be personally trying to stretch people's goals out or anything like that, or even taking them all up to 300,000 per month, right? You can always say something along the lines of aim for the sky and then aim for the sky and then hit the moon first, and just kind of realigns the prospect's goals a little bit. But yeah, that's probably what I would say on that.
Okay. Well, I guess the reason I ask is I'm only really looking for students inside the program that want to hit at least 10K per month. Like that's the minimum goal. So like, would you be open to that kind of, I guess, volume?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Okay. So let's say that you had 10K per month coming in, like each month. Like let's say we're actually able to help you do that.
Yeah.
Like besides just paying the bills and stuff you talked about, like what would you do with like that extra income coming in though?
So with this question, all I'm trying to do is get the logical tie downs or the logistical tie downs towards the goal. Very simple.
I have a wife in Vietnam that I'm separated from at the moment because of COVID. I'd love to be able to get her over here as soon as COVID stabilises. An overarching concept would be recognition from my family and friends, because they see me as someone who struggles all the time, and there's no outward manifestation of my success, and I have to say I'm not having success at the moment, haven't had for years. So that's my big why, I guess.
Your big why. Okay.
Yeah, I want to prove to my friends and family that I'm sort of paying my own way.
Okay.
At the moment, I'm eating into my savings, and that can't go on.
Okay. All right. And if you could prove that to everyone, right? You know, family, friends, because I know what that's like. I've been in your position, right? I get that. Right, so if you could do that yourself, like what would that do for you? Like what would that maybe,
Changed my life.
in what
Yeah.
way?
Oh, just more self-esteem, um, and you know, another platform to achieve more success from that level. And you know, as we all know, the sky's the limit. You know, once you get going, life changes, and you know, you start to power ahead.
Okay.
You know,
Well,
opportunities arise.
and what if you don't do anything about it though? Like you just keep doing what you're doing, same process, same thing. You repeat that over and over again, and that just goes on for the next 2 weeks, 2 months, 2 years from now. Like what
No,
happens then?
it's
So the reason we asked this question is we're trying to get the prospect to develop internal urgency, right? A lot of salespeople like to say weird things, which I don't really agree with on, you know, oh, you have to do this now or blah, blah, blah. It's like, it always comes back to that same quote that I always talk about in sales, which is, a man convinced against his will is of the same opinion still, from Dale Carnegie. And your prospects need to be influencing themselves to make a buying decision, not the other way around. And so this is the whole purpose of asking this question in this phase. I'm trying to get the prospect to explore the true consequences of what happens if he doesn't actually try, if he doesn't take that step.
got to stop, and that's why I'm talking to you.
Okay, so it's important for you to do something then.
Yeah, yeah.
All right. Well, look, I think, you know, based on what you mentioned there, I think what we're doing would actually work for you. Because you know how you're talking about, like you want your business to pay you more income, trade less money for time, especially with the web developing. And you know, right now, like in the business that you're working in, you're not quite getting the amount of projects that you'd like. And yeah, like the income coming in and time as well. You talked about. And I think that's causing you to feel like just a little bit like humiliated as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
What's that doing to you?
Oh, I just I can see by people's. Here's a scenario. When you're young, when you were say 25, in my situation, when I was 25, I had a signwriting business. I was a signwriter by trade. I had my own business. Nobody knew that I wasn't going to make it big, if you know what I mean. So, and over the years, I haven't made it big like I thought I would. So back in those days, I had my own business, my own premises, and people, I could feel the respect that I got from people, and it felt good. I don't have that anymore, and I can see in my interaction with people that think, well, why should I pay attention to this guy? He's effectively a nobody, you know. I mean, I look after my health and fitness. I'm in pretty good shape for my age, but I need. You know, what's my claim to fame? Everybody has to have a claim to fame, you know?
100%.
Yes.
Well, look, man, like with your permission, what we can do is we can just pull up my iPad together and just go step by step and piece it all together and just see how it works and just basically show you how we could help you. Like, would that help?
Yeah.
All right. Well, let me just go ahead and pull up my screen.
Okay, so just for full context, I wanna jump this up to the 2x speed because I know a lot of you aren't really gonna be that interested in the presentation, but I want to give you a full uncut clip. So we're gonna jump it up to 2x speed. We're gonna go through that, and then we're gonna head to the objections. But like I mentioned, as the title of this video states, I want it to be a full-length sales call that you guys see with nothing cut out. So we're gonna sit through it. If you want to click through it, you can just go to where about. If you can see on the actual like timer here. You can see maybe like at 45, 50 minutes. When you see that, that's when we're going to be skipping to objection handling. So if you're not interested in that, you can skip right to that part if you would like.
Here, I'll just share my screen with you. All right, so let me just airplay this one. All right. Okay. Now, you know, we kind of run through the campaign and stuff like that. So really...
I'm sorry to interrupt, mate. Do you mind if I record this?
Oh, go ahead. Yeah, no worries. Yeah, no worries.
Second.
Also, just observing what he said there, he said, can I record this? So it all, again, just is just putting in my mind, he's not making a decision now. He's going to sit on his hands and do nothing about it. Basically just giving himself every single excuse not to take action on the solution.
Okay, now here we go. Okay, we're good to go.
We're good to go? Okay. So really what you're going to need to get to where you want to go is the MBA Fast Track program.
Yep.
Right now, really what this is designed to do is, although you've got some experience, it's designed to take you from, as far as like doing paid advertising and campaigns, it's designed to take you from absolute scratch to hero, right? Best marketer in the industry, especially for nationwide, because we only really have, at the moment, we only have students in Australia, right? And that's the important piece. Now, did Chelsea, or I think it was Talia actually, did Talia talk you through like the investment structure and how that works?
Yeah, I understand that. 4,950 is a one-off payment.
That's correct. Yeah. Right. And that's basically like the investment for the entire program there as well. Right. Now, there's a couple of things that you're really going to need to get you to where you want to go. Right. So the first thing is, I'm sure you have a couple questions about this, which is the done for your business.
Yep.
Right. So one of the biggest problems that most people have when I guess they're trying to start their own digital marketing agency, especially running campaigns and stuff, is they can get very confused around like the softwares and the tools they actually might need, and they spend money where they don't have to. Right. Because as you would know, like softwares can become quite expensive when they start to rack up. So what we do is we set you up with like all your business fundamentals, right? So we give you like a website done for you, right? It's templated, it's step-by-step processes, automations, and actually even some of the campaigns you actually even use to actually go to clients through. Because like Chelsea and Zane have already got campaigns that use with clients in Australia. We've imported that into that software, right? And it's all loaded into one really simple to use like tech platform that we train you on how to use, right? You can use your own, but we give that to you, right? It's just everything that you actually need and more with like templates and everything, just actually start from scratch, but also scale, right?
Sorry, am I able to integrate this into my existing website?
So we actually have an actual platform in there where you can design websites,
Okay.
right? So I'm not too sure as far as like it interconnects with forgive me, I apologize. I think I forgot what was the name of the web design platform you use? WordPress, yeah, my bad. So yeah, I'm not sure if it integrates with WordPress, but we have an actual software in there that actually allows you to create landing pages and websites, right? So it's really simple to use, like click and drag kind of stuff. And so having that software in place just basically means that you have all the tools that you need. You only need one more tool, which is called Dropform, which I'm sure you've seen before. It's about $5 to $10 per month, something like that. And that's it. Besides that, you'll have everything inside that platform. Right? Just shortcut the learning curve so you can get results as fast as possible, right? So are you with me on that?
The only thing I'm concerned about is the difference in domain. I've segmented for brand equity in my existing domain, and if I'm sending clients to an unusual web address, then I want to know what that's all about.
Okay, well, I guess you can sort that out down the line. Chelsea and Zane have got experience with that stuff, I'm sure, so you can always ask those questions and just help them through that, right? So like, as far as like, I can't do like, I guess like the techie stuff with the domain, I couldn't probably answer that for you. But as far as like Chelsea and Zane, like especially Zane, like he's done a lot of that stuff, so I'm sure he probably has some kind of solution for that. I probably just got to figure out some way or something. But
so when you think about it, I mean, the web address is something that is critical to prospects, potential customers. When they see that web address, they're going to think, well, who are these people? Who is this guy?
Yeah.
What's going on? Whereas at the moment, if I send someone to my website, there's my photo on there, and I mean, I know I can put my photo on and sort of white label it on your platform, but they see gordondesign.com.au and they've got a pretty good idea of who you're dealing with.
Yeah, like I mean, you'd have like a domain that's like, for example, like fairypetinsurance.com. Like if you're like selling a pet insurance client, you'd have a domain that would be like fairy pet insurance. You'd be sending them to that domain, right? So it'd be a complete separate domain. You wouldn't use the one that you have now.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. Although the big question is, what is my niche, right? And my niche is WordPress.
Yeah, that's exactly right. But like your niche specifically, like you can still use WordPress, it's fine. But like this software will just give you another tool that you can use. Right? By all means, you can still use WordPress if you're still comfortable with that. Right? But it just really means that this platform is the most easiest way for students to build campaigns quickly. We just got templates implemented in there, imported, sorry. It's just easiest to do that. That makes sense. Right? Now, as far as your niche, right? So you know how you're saying that, I guess, you need more like education, you need the roadmap and things like that, all the support and stuff. But really what we do, as far as like niche creation, like we've taken Zane's 10 years of like education knowledge, like being in the trenches as a marketer, and Chelsea's 5, I think no 7, sorry. And we've bottled that all up and we've distilled it down to like 5 to 30-minute video trainings with like templates, resources, spreadsheets, documents, like everything you're possibly going to need as far as like niche creation, how to get prospect, like how to get actual clients, how to structure your campaign, everything you can think of, any concern you might have, it's all inside there. So it's very rigorous. So it's all formatted like in a step-by-step curriculum to help you understand everything step-by-step. So you'll actually get nuanced feedback along the entire process because you'll get to submit your niche for approval, you'll submit your campaign for approval, your ads, like everything. Like Chelsea's done very comprehensive about this. So step-by-step, you're going to be able to submit at each stage to make sure you're on track, right? So having that, I guess, that education in place means that instead of trying to figure it out on your own, as you would know, banging your head against the wall, trying to figure out what works, we just give all that to you on like a simple platter, basically. You click a button, I send that straight over to you, right? Does that make sense?
Yes, it does. Yeah.
Okay. Now, the last thing is the support. Right, so there's a couple of things that you get there. Now, the first thing is the group calls. Second thing is Flock and Unicircle. Right, so you know how you're talking about, you need that extra level of like nuanced support and feedback because like along the road, it's easy to get quite stuck. Yeah. Right, so really what we do is we give you access to 2 group calls every single week, so Tuesdays and Thursdays at 8 p.m. from hour to hour and 15 minutes, where Chelsea and Zane, live in a group setting, will either be teaching on a particular like topic or subject, doing a Q&A that week, or commonly what they do now is they do campaign teardowns for students. Right, so they'll go through and like, let's say you've figured out your niche and you've built your campaign, that will go through with you in a live setting and help you review it. Right, so what they would do, like the copy, the images, the ads, everything, they're going to pick it apart with you and help you along the way in a group setting so everybody can learn as well. And we do that like every single week, just so you know.
Twice a week, is it?
Yeah, twice a week, live.
Yeah. Sorry, am I supposed to be seeing your writing on this because I can see education, your next bullet point, I haven't seen it. Have you written anything? Oh, there you go.
Yeah, just popped up, I just saw that. Yeah, that's all good. So yeah, the second thing that you get access to is Flock, right? So you know how you're talking about like, you just quite didn't get the support you need in other places there. Well, what we do, we actually give you access so that on your phone or your laptop, we have an app called Flock, it's like a communication channel. Yeah. Monday through to Friday, with about at least giving 24 hours appropriate response times, 5 days every single week, Chelsea and Zane will be able to help you with any concern that you have. Right, so Monday through Friday, you can send them a message, any concern, whether it's a private one or it's a group one, put it in the group. There's a group channel and you can message them privately. If you have a concern, you can get that handled Monday through Friday. Right, so there's no going to some kind of expert in the Facebook group or whatever. It's Chelsea and Zane as your coaches, and you can go to them for help and support like 5 days a week. Right, where even along the way you get the support for those forms and reviews and things like that. However, you also get access to them to your phone anytime you want, Monday through Friday. Right, and they'll be able to get to you promptly. Right, so anything you can think about like campaigns, like getting clients, your niche, anything you think you're going to struggle with, they'll be there in your corner for as long as you want. So these group calls and this Flock access as well, There's no time limit, right? So it's no like 6 months, 12 months crap. It's like, this is as long as you need it, right? This is truly like, we're trying to build a community. So it's like, you're here to stay, right? So as long as we're only going to care about the result. So you can stay in here as long as you need, right? Now, the only last thing here is the inner circle. Right, so obviously, of course, like a Facebook group and things like that. But I think the community that we're growing is quite special as well. So it's like in the way that you're going to have people that are young as 18 inside the program. There are people that are 50 plus, right? And they're just trying to make things work. I spoke to a guy very similar to you and pretty well, a very close position to you. His name is Stuart, right? Exact same thing. I think you guys would resonate a lot. He's sort of in the exact same position as you. Right? He's trying to make it work in his business for years and years and years. And you have to do something to change. So like having that inner circle of people that you can resonate with and people that are Australian, same time zone, maybe even close to you, that you can network with and talk to. I think that's really important, right? For me especially, right? And a lot of students enjoy that.
So if I'm just going to add some input there, that's basically taking into consideration what he told me earlier about lack of support and being thrown in the deep end with a different Facebook group. So I've really emphasized in this part of the presentation that it is the opposite of that.
Having people that inside that inner circle you can reach out to, that you can connect with, talk about your journey to the program, all that kind of stuff. I think that's something that's really useful, right? So having that support structure laid out, that means that instead of getting stuck when you don't know what to do and that concern and that worry and all that kind of stuff goes on for like weeks, months, and even years, right? You can turn that problem into a solution in 24 hours, right? With having that support there backing you, right? So that just basically means instead of, you always know that what you're doing is always moving the needle forward, right? You're not doing something that won't get you clients because we guide you the whole entire way with Chelsea and Zane in your corner, right? Do you see how that works?
Yeah.
Okay. Cool, man. So with everything there, like, do you feel like that could be the answer for you?
Yeah, I think so.
So this question that I'm asking here, we're coming towards the end of the presentation. Question we're asking here is just asking for a confirmation of commitment and a buy-in that what we're doing is in their best interest, right? But before I go to that section, I should have asked if he has any questions first. It's a bit of a rookie mistake there.
What do you feel might help you best?
And then I've asked, does it feel like is what he's looking for? And then I've asked him why in particular.
I'm sorry?
What do you feel might help you best out of everything there?
I just want to make an income, a decent income and some passive income.
Mm-hmm.
Can you explain that? Go into that a little bit for us.
Okay. So when you say passive income, sorry.
Well, that's what Zane mentioned and Alex mentioned. How does that? I mean, I understand, like with a website care plan and people subscribe on a monthly basis. I understand that as being passive income. But how does that work in this case?
Yeah, so in relative to passive, really the way that, and this is getting a little bit far stretched here, but really what would happen is if you had 2 or 3 clients, right, you may be doing 25, 40, 50,000 per month, right? At that point, you can definitely hire someone to take your place that would just run the campaigns for you. So running the Facebook ads, running the YouTube ads, Google ads, whatever. And that's literally just sitting there as a beast that just keeps your clients happy. You might have a client success manager and things like that in place. So 2 people, or even 3, could just be running the entire business for you. You just be collecting cash each month because you've got like a client success manager, an ads manager, or an ad person, but also maybe like a virtual assistant as well, right? That can help you with ad stuff.
When you're business scaling, it's just this concept of scaling and delegating.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And that,
it's not like a productized concept that's generating passive income.
No, it's not a productized concept. No, it kind of is in a way because you can just duplicate the same campaign that you built and just duplicate that across clients and get the same results for them as well. Yeah. You don't really have to change anything, just the direction that you send those leads.
Okay, and this is what is described by Zane and Alex as an asset.
Yeah.
Are we talking about knowledge being the asset?
No, the campaign being your asset because you own that campaign. No, right. You can if you have a problem with a client or whatever it may be, like, or you want to change direction to the client, whatever it is, you can turn that on and off as you like. You control that campaign. Right? No one else does. It's your asset. Right? You control that. Yeah. Okay. So does it all make sense? Is there any questions that you have?
No, none of that at the moment. But it makes sense, I guess. Yeah.
Okay, cool, man. And all right, well, if I don't really have too much else to go over with you, I would say that we've covered the basis of what you're looking for and like starting an agency and campaigns and all that kind of stuff. So really what the next steps would be, if it's appropriate, is what I like to do with most students is we just like pull out the onboarding page together, go through the admin details, like process whatever investment works best for you. And then from there, send out your education, the support, the tools, get you access to the channels straight away, immediately, right? And create your accounts and then book you in for your onboarding training. Right, so we have those weekly and our next one is on tomorrow with Zane at 6:30, I think. Right, so book you in for your onboarding training from there and then get you so you can start building a campaign so you can actually start making more income. Just, I guess, stop trading money for time and just getting after it. Like, would that be appropriate, or would you like to go from here?
I'd like to have an opportunity to just contemplate this on my own. I mean, I guess you would understand that I'm pretty serious about changing things.
So now we're into objection handling. Now, initially he said, if you just listen to that last 5 seconds, I'm sure you could assume I'm pretty serious about changing things. This is what we call non-buyer language. So people will say things, in objection handling and just prospects in general, trust their actions, not their words, because a lot of the times they're speaking out of unconscious modes and they're not really understanding what they're saying. And a lot of it's just coming from unconscious programming, their subconscious. They're not really knowing what they're saying at this point because it's all just knee-jerk reactions. So definitely take that into consideration. But the objection that I said would come up earlier, even though I knew it was coming up because I've seen this call plenty of times, it's pretty easy to identify that this was going to happen within the first 6 minutes. So let's see how that keeps rolling on.
Okay. One of the reasons is, one of the things that I think we've established is that I need support, and the concept of connecting with other people is a big thing for me because I've just been isolated here, and it's difficult to connect with other people. If you don't have a particular common focused interest,
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm pretty serious about this, and I just would like to have a think about what
There it is again. I'm pretty serious about this. If he was serious about it, he would then do it, right? Trust actions, not words.
we've talked about. Go over this recording that I've made with you.
As I said before, forgot that even came up, but go over this recording that I've made, right? He's just giving himself every possible opportunity to not change and not do something about a situation.
Can I get back in touch with you and complete this process at a later date?
Yeah, for sure, man. I guess I respect and understand that. It's not a problem at all. But I guess I'm concerned.
So this is a really, I guess, advanced type of objection handling. So first is diffusing and neutralizing the opinion or concept. So yeah, that's not a problem. I can respect that. So I'm neutral on your opinion. I'm not agreeing with you, but I can respect that. However, I'm concerned. And when you're concerned for somebody, that is when you're in a place of helping people. And objection handling, the reason why most people really mess this process up is they're in the process of commissions. How can I get this person to buy today? When you instead reframe this mindset of how can I help this person? How can I help this person get to where they want to go? How can I help this person overcome their limiting concerns and beliefs? That is when you'll go far and you'll go in the distance in objection handling, because most salespeople react. Most people think too quickly. Most people talk too fast. Most people try to pressure people into something. I'm not going to get anywhere by pressuring this guy into anything. So I need to take that step back, diffuse, neutralize, and then move towards into a mindset of helping this prospect overcome their concerns.
Right, because I can understand that this is a big move for you. It's a big change, right? That you might need to think about and take some time.
Yeah.
Right? Do you feel like your mindset?
So already I'm making a mistake here. As I mentioned, this call recordings are quite old, but typically before you go into handling a fear concern or a think about a concern, usually you want to be ticking off the money box. And what I mean by that is working out a logistical pathway for the prospect to basically afford the solution that you have, and making sure that that is the case before hitting someone over the head with a mindset bat. Because if you're telling someone that they have a bad mindset, yet they simply just do not have the money, it's not going to work out very well for you. So before even going down the payment plan route, down the think about it route, I should have directly asked and gone down the logistical pathways and ticked that box off there.
That sort of affects like your decision-making process and like sort of like the results that you have in your business now?
Yeah, well, I guess it does. Yeah.
Okay.
And I've
Again, I'll call. This is the reflection that I have now. I've let him speak, and I shouldn't have, and I should have steamrolled him in this case and scenario. So I should have been on top of him, leading that dialogue, whereas I let him speak and waffle on, which is something that I need to not do in this situation, because it lets the objection run loose and lets him sell the objection to me, which is not what I want to be doing.
I've got a couple of bad experiences under my belt that sort of, I had hoped to be able to, do all of this on my own way.
So again, more objections coming up. So I've been burned before, and I want to do this on my own. No matter how much pre-handling you do with somebody, sometimes the objections still come up, right? In fact, a lot of the times they still come up. So you got to be prepared for what's about to come later on. Even no matter how hard you try to pre-handle objections, they're still going to come up regardless.
Have done in the past is just sort of tried to glean as much information as I can from these various programs and cross-reference them all and build up my own bank of knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not happening as fast as I'd like,
Yeah, exactly right. Can I make a suggestion to you?
Yeah.
Can you see that thought process, that way of thinking, the way that you take action has got you to exactly the same place to where you are right now?
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah.
Okay. And are you 100% happy with where you are at? What we talked about. You're 100% happy with where you are right now, business, money, income.
No, I'm not happy at all.
Okay. Well, what happens if you don't change anything? Like, what if you just keep doing the same thing? You just, think about it, you procrastinate, right? And I guess you self-sabotage, you keep doing this procrastinating and it keeps going on.
Yeah.
Like, what happens then?
Well, doesn't really require an answer. I know what you're saying. It's
So this is him avoiding pain, avoiding looking at the dark side of things. I don't really need to give that an answer. He absolutely does, right? And I'm going to slap him here in a second, and this is a good form of leadership and a good display of it.
No, I'm dead serious. Like, what happens if nothing changes? Because
I'm dead serious. What's going to happen if nothing changes? That is a good form of leadership and objection handling, and not accepting just shitty answers from your prospect.
I mean, yeah, because I can't do anything, right? It doesn't change me, man.
Yeah.
Right? Do you want that same decision-making process that got you the same results that you have now to actually dictate the results that you get moving forward?
No.
Why not?
Well, that's why I'm here talking to you.
Okay. Well, what do we have to do? Like, what do we have to do to put ourselves in the best position possible so that we can actually achieve the results that we talked about and actually start changing a situation? Like, what do we actually have to do?
Well,
So this is me about going and asking for the commitment again, and not saying, hey, you should buy my stuff. It's like, what do you have to do, brother? What do you have to do to change your situation and take that step in the direction towards where you want to go?
to go ahead with this, it would be nice to know that there's some sort of backstop for the amount of investment that it is. If I decide, if I guarantee to you that I put my best foot forward, and you are able to quantify that, you are able to say, well, yeah, we can verify that you followed the steps that we've asked you to.
Yeah, we can.
And it hasn't worked for me, that I can get a refund within a reasonable amount of time.
Yeah, I understand. And so, I mean, you've heard the saying, right? You can lead a horse to water, but you can't make it drink.
Yeah.
You've heard that, yeah. So man, we can give you everything. Right? We can give you all of it. Like we talked about, like the software, the education, the support, everything.
Yeah.
But unless you show up and actually do it, right, then we can't really do anything, right? Or if in 30 days you go, yeah, like I'm not getting results, I want a refund, right?
Yeah.
You won't get the result anyway, right? So if we put you inside the program with that kind of mindset, you won't get the results anyway.
Yeah.
Right? And so that's
So what I'm doing here is I'm just kind of giving the prospect a bit of a slap, because if I don't, even if he buys, he's going to end up refunding, and there's really no point in doing that as a salesperson or putting the business through that trouble. So I really need to mold this guy into, a better client, so we can actually get him some good results.
not something I want to do because I guess I'm concerned, right? And it's totally okay to think the way that you're thinking, because that's become.
No, it's not. So I shouldn't have said it's totally okay to think the way that you're thinking. And this is just purely a symptom of me, again, because it's an older call, I was less experienced. It's just a symptom of me kind of not really knowing the direction to go with this. And so I'm just kind of walking him down different reframes that I was experiencing at the time. It's not okay to think the way that he's thinking, because he's basically saying he wants to refund. So shouldn't have said that there. That was a big no-no.
Perspective. I understand that. But really, what takes a lot of courage and a lot of, determination, it's uncomfortable, right, to make those kind of decisions, right? But really what we're dealing with here is you're jumping on a flight, and I guess from flying from like Melbourne to Sydney, you're looking to go in and check the cockpit out, make sure the pilot knows where they're going, all that kind of stuff. Because you don't know the destination, right? Maybe you've been there before, especially in Melbourne to Sydney case, but what if it's somewhere you haven't been, right? You don't know the direction, you don't know the location, you haven't seen it, you haven't been there, right? But you know who has, Zane and Chelsea, right? Your coaches, right? The only thing that you have to do is actually show up, buy the ticket, come along for the ride, and we'll take you there, right? But you have to show up, man. You have to show up. Because if you don't, like I mentioned.
I understand. Yeah. It's a leap of faith. Yeah.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
Right. So what do you feel, man? Like, what do you feel like you need to do?
So this is me just interrupting before he starts waffling again. So it's just straight back to that, confirming commitment question. Like, what do you have to do to put yourself in the best position possible to achieve the things you said you wanted?
Personally, that is going to make sure that when you go to bed tonight, you've done everything possible to actually put yourself in the best position possible to actually achieve these goals we talked about. Like, what do you have to do?
I have to sign up.
Okay. So what would you like to do from here?
Oh, just one more question.
Go ahead.
One or
Okay, so that's pretty much the whole call, guys. I mean, I just answered a quick logistical question there for the prospect. But yeah, that's a full length sales call, another one on the YouTube channel. That's pretty much everything that I wanted to show you. Everything's there, box and dice. And one thing to also know for context with this prospect as well, we ended up taking about 35 minutes to do a direct bank transfer after this. Now, tell me how many people are actually going to stick with you for that long period or duration of time after you've just objection handled them. Very few. And the reason why he was able to stay with me for such a long time, even though he had a bunch of problems with getting his payment ready and a bunch of other issues in conjunction. The reason why is because I handled the objection correctly. I didn't pressure him into anything. I got him to convince himself, persuade himself, influence himself. And then he came to his own conclusions. If we pressure people into things, we pressure people into buying stuff, it's just simply not going to work for you, and it's not going to pan out very well for your sales career. So that's the sales call recording, and hopefully you guys enjoyed it. So hopefully you enjoyed that call recording, a full length, uncut, raw sales call from me, myself, the guy that talks about doing this stuff for a living. There's full, solid, concrete proof and evidence that I've been doing this for a very long time. But again, understanding that call is very old and I've learned a lot since then. But anyways, if you enjoyed this video, smash the like button. Make sure you subscribe because there's a ton of really, really valuable high ticket sales content that's coming in the coming weeks, coming months, in the next year. I'm really looking forward to taking YouTube that much more seriously in the short term and the longer term so we can reach more people and help more people. Which, by the way, if you're wanting to get some help to successfully transition out of what you're doing now to high ticket sales and you're wanting to trust someone to do it, we've got a ton of results. Check out our case studies and testimonials on my Instagram page and on this YouTube channel. We've helped a ton of people and I absolutely would love to help you, me or my team. And so if you want to get that help, if you want to work with someone who's been doing this, who's experienced and has been doing this for a long time, click on that link below down in the description. There's a Calendly link there. Fill in your details and me and my team will get back to you, see if you're a fit, and we can have a chat over Zoom or however we decide to have a chat about whether or not we can help you hit your goals and do what you want to do, right? So hopefully you enjoyed today's video, guys, and I'll see you in the next one.